I scoured the internet in hopes of finding some of the earliest One Piece theories ever conceived. You see, 2005 was a completely different time for One Piece. At the time, the current arc was Water 7, not even an East Lobby. Haki was still in its infancy and didn't have a name yet, and Ace was still alive. If that puts things into perspective for you. But that didn't stop our friend Ubik on the Arlong Park forums from voicing his theories on how one can get their grubby little hands on the One Piece. I'll start this off with a reprint of my all blue theory, as I've added a bit to it since I've originally posted it. Now, assuming that there is indeed an all blue, for there to be fish from all four blues, the most likely location would be the intersection of these seas. There are two possibilities. One is the entrance of the Grand Line at Reverse Mountain, while the other is where the Grand Line cuts through the Red Line. Now, if we take a look at the map of One Piece here, what our friend is alluding to is the two entrances would either be around Twin Cape, I believe that's what he's saying, the entrance to Reverse Mountain, or the world cuts through the Red Line. Is the all blue like in the Red Line? Is it like in a cave or something? I don't know. He says, I doubt it's the latter. The channel that cuts through the Red Line at Mary Joie, I forgot how you pronounce it, I'm so sorry, could easily be mapped and thoroughly explored. If an all blue was there, then it should have been found. No, the more likely answer is that it is at the other intersection of the four oceans. Cook, brother. Now hold your horses, because Ubik gets a little advanced here. Now, Reverse Mountain is shaped like a four-armed star. The top side of the blade forces part of the current up the mountain, while the bottom forces another section downward, which drags fish from each blue along with it. Voila, all blue. He drew a picture of what he was trying to allude to here. So I kind of clocked him. He thinks the all blue is a cave. It's a cave. Okay. As you can see with the graphic here, he's alluding to something a little bit bigger than the all blue theory. I don't know if you see that little thing in the middle. Let's take a little zoom in on that. Yeah, that's where the One Piece is, apparently. Ubik does not have this knowledge at the time, but Fishman Island is located underneath the Holy Land. And that kind of buys into the current theory about the destruction of the Red Line that's gonna kind of pool all of the seas together because of that premonition that one fish lady had. You know the theory that I'm talking about. So if that were to happen, we would blow up the One Piece, right? The fact that he is already predicting the all blue will be the cross section of all the seas and not just like this kind of like mythical, magical area that nobody has found yet that just happens to have all of the fish in it, like, bravo, dude. That's more than the average One Piece viewer at this time was thinking about. Now, the all blue is hidden inside the mostly hollow Reverse Mountain. The only people that could possibly have seen it for a fact would have been on Roger's crew. Now, we have met a lot of people in Roger's crew, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of them have talked about seeing this legendary mythical place. I think they would have slipped at this point. This also explains why the One Piece has not been found, because again, it's apparently in a cave underneath Reverse Mountain. Perhaps the only way to access it is a series of caves. Some of the caves are inhabited by local inhabitants, or even some of Roger's crew who are assigned to protect the One Piece until he returns. That is fucking crazy to think about. First off, is he alluding that there is a city encased inside of Reverse Mountain? That's bizarre. Second off, I think that Roger's whole goal of telling people, yo, go find this treasure that I found, kind of speaks to the fact that he wouldn't lay booby traps around it. This isn't the Goonies. The caves may even not be accessible except at certain points in a certain fashions, like rowboats at a low tide. I think this guy just watched the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It's actually all clicking to me right now. They had to hold that gold coin. Moonlight had to come down. They had to use their blood or something. He's literally recreating the Black Pearl right now. The only way to find Raphael is to know which cave will lead you to the entrance to the all blue, which may be one of two ways. By being a D, you have some specific attribute that tells you which one is correct, or it may require the ability to read poneglyphs. Hold up. He's kind of back in play right now. He might have the location of the One Piece completely backwards, but he is actually kind of cooking on how to get there. That being said, the will of D has not been explained to us. still. So maybe it is like a voice that calls to them, like Roger did at Zoe or whatever. I think it's far more interesting to think about in 2005, the poneglyphs were still a very mysterious artifact that had not been elaborated on to the extent that they are now. So the fact that he is pinpointing that as the answer to where the One Piece is hidden is crazy. It's also possible that there might even be multiple paths to the One Piece, that only the strongest can survive the trip. Now that's a little vague. I think if you back up and take it from kind of a story perspective, obviously only the strongest of the strong are going to be able to complete the journey through the Grand Line to find the 4 red poneglyphs to come to the conclusion of where the One Piece is and then find it. But I think what he's alluding to here more is maybe like there's a trial that you have to complete like inside, like there's like a gate or something, which, but we're not done here because the comments are even funnier. But before we continue, I need to tell you about this incredibly beautiful game and the sponsor of today's video, Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. You can see for yourself how absolutely stunning this art style is. Uses a mix of non-photorealistic and physically rendering-based technology to create these jaw-dropping visuals. But enough about the eye candy, this game is much more than what meets the eye. Girls Frontline 2 Exilium is a turn-based RPG, renowned for its intense customization. The refitting room is a staple of the game, allowing you to fully customize your dolls to your liking, and even have them interact with each other for some interesting moments. Oh, so if you tap on them, oh, it makes her like drink her tea. That's so cute. Duh. And I can't forget to mention the 3D weapon system that is fully customizable as well. All those dolls and weapons that I showcased there are a part of the limited time event Interstice of Reminiscence. It's bringing new dolls, a rate-up event for Belka and Endoris, new and discounted outfits like Belka's one right here, and so much more. What are you waiting for? Download Girls Frontline 2 Exilium right now with the top link in the description. There are a ton of rewards with this new event that you do not want to miss out on, including 30 free pulls from just the sign-in events, and if you combine your resources, you can get up to another 64 pulls. And be sure to keep tabs with all of the dates on screen now for the Interstice of Reminiscence event. And while we're at it, take a peek at this battle pass real quick too. Thank you, Girls Frontline 2 Exilium, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it. You could clarify something a little bit further down in the comments. Having a D isn't necessarily the only way to get there. I just think that those people have a natural advantage by virtue of being a D. Someone like Marshall D. Teach can go the shortest route if they choose to, while somebody like Mihawk or Whitebeard will simply have to force their way through the long way by sheer brute force strength or by following someone else who knows the way. Now, okay, it's kind of crumbling again because he's going back to this like whole booby trap fucking cave system thing, but here's where it gets very interesting. As a reminder of the theory posted on the previous board, he lists the names of the people that currently are confirmed to have the Will of D. And he names them as Roger, Ace, F question mark, Teach, E question mark, and Luffy, spelling out Wrath Town. Now it is funny because we know now there are like a ton of people who have the Will of D that we have met. Law, for example, doesn't really fit the list. And it's kind of funny to think that maybe Oda just like happened to name all of the people who have the Will of D to fit in that certain criteria. I don't know, it's just kind of funny. Go Anderson here decided to kind of piggyback off of his theory. Excellent theory, indeed. Great job, Ubik. I do have one idea to add, ... You all remember that piece of paper Ace gave to Luffy? This may sound stupid, but ... What if that paper, when exposed to some element in said cave, reacts by showing a map through the cave? I think this is funny because this kind of alludes to the fact that Ace might know where the One Piece is. Yes, Ace is a very impressive and established pirate, but that motherfucker definitely did not know where the One Piece was. But what's funnier is that this is actually a common theory that a lot of people are putting together. Griever here has also said, yep, I'm sure there was more to the paper that Ace gave to Luffy. Some secret message or map, perhaps? Ubik probably started this crazy side theory that the paper that Ace gave to Luffy was some map and not just like a Vivery card that we obviously know what it is now. Owner Zeph here also came up with another little side theory. He gave his theory on how Frankie and Polly would be joining the Straw Hats during the Water 7 arc. Assumptions. The Going Merry is on its last legs. With the death of the Merry comes the death of the Clobber... I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that. We're gonna call him the K-Man. Cool? From that ship, a position that was unknown until recently. Frankie has made a ship that will eventually become the property of the Straw Hat crew. However, this new ship is lacking a K-Man. Here's his main theory. Both Frankie and Polly are willing to put down their lives for Water 7. In the upcoming fight with CP9, one of these men will lay down their lives in a spectacular battle for the sake of those people that they love, i.e. fighting until they collapse, dragging Lucci into the water and holding him down until they both suffocate, something of that sort. However, as Oda isn't a big fan of killing people, the spirit of the dead man will become the new K-Man for the Straw Hat Crew's new ship. People reading One Piece knew that they needed a new shipwright, and at the time, we knew of these K-Men as people who would fix the ship. Now, the only thing that I can think about that obviously wouldn't really fit is that I'm pretty sure that the K-Men are kind of like the ship's will itself, so it wouldn't really make sense, but bravo, bro, I think it's kind of cool what you came up with. Okay, I think it's time to finally move off of this thread and onto one that I think is personally fucking hilarious. Joe Kiddo II has posted into the forums with the title, "My First Beef with the One Piece Storyline." Dun dun! People were doubting Oda all the way back in 2005. My point is, why does the series get so popular, yet the series takes place on the Grand Line? Why does the story need to go from island to island? Why not all around the world? Joe Kiddo, I think that is all around the world in their world. First of all, the One Piece world is all the islands and the Red Line is the only continent. Why did Oda not create a larger landmass? Why just the sea? That is so boring. Brother, this is a series about fucking pirates. You wanted the pirates to be fighting on Gettysburg or something? Like, you just wanted the whole series to take place in Long Ring Longland? Is that what we wanted here, really? They're pirates. They have pirate ships. They need somewhere to put the fucking pirate ships. You want the pirate ships to have wheels or something, man? Oda puts too much effort into the Grand Line. Many strange things happen there. Wouldn't it be nice if the whole world was like the Grand Line? And the Grand Line is full of strong pirates. Just pirates? Why not other monsters and other type of people with supernatural powers? I'm not really sure if this guy knew what he was getting into when he started reading this series. The story is too straightforward. There is no exploring any of the blues. Plus, there is no turning back. The story is strictly linear. Yes, Joe Kiddo, there is only so much time in a day that Oda can dedicate to explaining the world of One Piece. If we all lived to the age of 150 and didn't have terrible working conditions put on us by our corporate overlords, I'm sure he would love to paint some side stories of the West Blue and the East Blue. But we don't got fucking time for that, man. We don't got fucking time for that. We're focused on Luffy, the One Piece, and it just so happens that Luffy's One Piece journey takes place on the Grand Line. Island hopping can be cliche sometimes. It would be nice if Oda creates a larger land. This guy really does not fuck with the sea, man. I don't think you like the setting. I don't think you're a pirate guy, and that's fine. He had to have read Alabasta, right? The whole part of that was like exploring the fucking kingdom of Alabasta. This just doesn't make sense to me. He sounds young, and that's okay. I hope he didn't give up on the series. Actually, I can check. Does he still post? Last online, June 15th, 2025. He did not give up. He did not give up, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, one last thing before we end the video that I found that was actually mind-blowing while I was editing is that Ubik and Joe Kiddo actually still interact to this day. Their most recent interaction was in 2024 when they were talking about some US politics, but I just thought this was so beautiful, man. Anyways, thanks for watching the video.